I still remember the day I got the call, a day that should have been filled with joy, but instead became the beginning of a storm that would shake the foundations of my life. Ada, for wanting my baby shower to be about me? That's how the argument started. But trust me, the situation was far more complicated than that. My name is Sarah, and I was 22 and pregnant with my first child. The excitement of this new chapter in my life was overshadowed by the complications that had arisen with my partner Jake. He was 22 too, charming and attentive, the kind of person who you thought could do no wrong. Our relationship had been rocky, though. We had our moments of bliss, but they were often drowned out by misunderstandings and a lack of empathy from his side. As I grew larger with my baby bump, those cracks became harder to ignore. Jake had spent the better part of our relationship arguing that family was everything. He'd often speak lovingly about his relatives, even those he hardly knew, like a second cousin, twice removed, whom he saw not even once a year. When it came to planning my baby shower, I could feel that old tug-of-war starting again. On one hand, I wanted to make this day special for myself, a celebration of the tiny life I was carrying. On the other, there was Jake, adamant about inviting relatives I had never met, insisting they had to be part of this pivotal moment in our lives. I had agreed, initially, to allow a couple of people from his side, as I didn't want to be a bad partner. But when I realized they were distant relatives, people whose names I could hardly remember, my discomfort grew. I mean, why should my day be filled with faces I barely knew? I voiced my feelings after yet another late-night conversation, only for Jake to turn the tables and accuse me of being selfish. "It's not just about you, Sarah. It's about me and my family as well," he said, his voice low and dripping with disappointment. I felt my heart sink. This day was supposed to be a celebration for both of us, yes, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Jake and his mother were making it into something that was solely about his desire for validation from relatives who didn't even know I existed until recently. His mother, a woman I had confided in during moments of vulnerability, had recently started openly criticizing me, using my past insecurities against me like a weapon. It felt like betrayal wrapped in a pretty bow of family loyalty. One afternoon, after another fiery conversation with Jake where I maintained my stance, I reached my breaking point. I told him that I would rather raise our child alone than have to deal with the backlash from his family. His mother's disrespectful comments had stripped away whatever tiny shards of respect I had left for their family. Why should I celebrate with people who spend their time smearing my name? I asked him, trying to keep my voice steady, but I could feel the tears stinging my eyes. It was in that moment of vulnerability that I realized how much I had been pushed to the margins of my own life. I was tired of always bending to his wishes and his family's, tired of pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. While I expected some level of compromise, Jake wrote me off as unreasonable, claiming that I was being selfish. His words hung in the air long after the argument, making me rethink everything. I took a step back and thought about what I wanted for my baby shower. I imagined my family and my closest friends, the people who had supported me, who knew my journey and celebrated every small victory with me. I wanted laughter, heartfelt gifts, and genuine love, not a parade of unfamiliar faces fueled by obligation and expectation. I wanted a space where I felt safe, respected, and truly cherished. That night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, I felt a wave of clarity wash over me. I needed to stand my ground, not just for myself, but also for my baby. I was setting a precedent for what my future would look like, teaching my child about self-respect and the importance of surrounding oneself with genuine love. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I decided that the baby shower would be a reflection of my spirit and my desires, not a puppet show for Jake's family to perform their strange rituals. I was shaky, but I felt a sense of empowerment in this resolve. The next day, I approached Jake again. This time, I laid everything on the table. I told him about the hurt I felt from his mother, the way his family's disdain weighed down on me. I expressed my willingness to invite a few of his close friends if it meant a compromise, but I firmly stood my ground. The baby shower was going to be about celebrating our child, and that required the people who truly cared, not just those who were conveniently related. In the end, the conversation spiraled into yet another argument. Jake and his mom maintained their position, framing me as selfish and threatening to throw a real baby shower without me. The tension only escalated as I felt increasingly isolated and belittled. And so here I am asking Eta for wanting a baby shower that reflects my needs and values instead of letting Jake's family walk all over me. If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? I look forward to hearing your thoughts because right now, I feel like I'm fighting for not just my future, but also for the kind of mother I want to be.